Additional management server installation. In this video, we are going to take a look at installing the second management server. Having a distributed server deployment will be the most common type of design that you'll come across in Operations Manager. It is recommended that you have at least 2 management servers in any management group. This allows for failover, load balancing, scalability, redundancy, and these servers can be either physical or virtual servers, and they can span across domains, work groups, and the DMZ. During the installation of the second management server, or any additional management servers, you will supply the account credentials for the Management Server Action account, the System Center Configuration Service, and System Center Data Access Service accounts. In this demonstration, you will learn how to install an additional management server. The amount of data that you have to enter is less than when you install the very first management server because you've already created and installed the management group. So you'll just install the second management server or any additional management servers in that management group. Once you are presented with the Operations Manager Setup splash screen, you would select Install. On the Select Features to Install screen, you would select the Management Server role, and also 9 times out of 10, you would select the Operations Console, and then select Next. On the Select Installation Location, you would select a location for the binaries and the program files to be located. Now, typically, you would change this location to something other than the system drive, but it defaults to C:\program files, Microsoft System Center 2016 Operations Manager. So for demo purposes, I'm going to leave the installation directory unchanged, but in a production environment, I would change this to another drive, a drive other than the system drive. After you select Next, the prerequisites screen is going to run the prerequisites. And once you're satisfied that all the prerequisites have passed, you can select Next. Now, if any prerequisites fail, like if you didn't have one of the software requirements, you would have to go back, reinstall or install the requirements that are missing, and then rerun the prerequisite checker. Now, if you get warnings, like if you have a warning for not having enough memory, the recommended memory is 4 gigs, but you could have like 2 gigs of memory, you'll get a warning, but you can proceed. Once you're satisfied with that all the prerequisites have passed, you can select Next. The next screen brings you to the Specify an Installation option. Now, since this is an additional management server, we would select the second option, Add a management server to an existing management group. You do have the ability to have multiple management groups in your environment. But for the purpose of this demonstration, we'll select Add a management server to an existing management group and click Next. You would read and agree to the license terms. Click Next. On the Configure the Operational Database screen, you have to supply the name of the server and the instance along with the SQL port, which will default to 1433, along with the database name. Once I have supplied this name of the SQL server along with the instance, if it's something other than the default instance, and click Tab, I'll have the option to select the database name. So from the drop-down menu, you'll select the name of the database, and our database is auto-populated as Operations Manager. So I'll select that and click Next. Once the database has been connected to, you will actually come to a screen that says Configure Operations Manager Accounts. Now, this is where you'll supply the name of the Management Server Action account along with the System Center Configuration Service and System Center Data Access account. So supply the name of the domain, /username and password for each of these accounts, and we have a domain account for each one. Once you've supplied the credentials, you would click Next. You'll be presented with the diagnostic and usage data. Now, this feature is on by default. As an administrator, you can turn this feature off at a later time. This replaces the Customer Experience Improvement Program. And basically, this is where if any information is being sent to Microsoft, of course, the Operations Manager Management Server will send diagnostic and usage data to Microsoft, and the Operations Manager console will also send this data. So select Next, even though you can go back into the Choice and Control feature and turn this off later on. So click Next. The Microsoft Update screen, you'll select in a production environment, use Microsoft Updates to check for updates, but in this demo environment, I'll click off. Do not automatically check for updates because I don't have internet connection in this environment. Click Next. You'll come to the summary screen, and then you'll click Install. During the installation, the operational database configuration, management server, data warehouse configuration, the console will all be installed. And this typically takes anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes, depending on the RAM and the processor of your management server. Once the installation has completed, you can click Close and close the splash screen. To test if the installation was successful, we will just open up the Operations console. So from the Start menu, I'll tap Operations Console, and I'll click on Operations Console, and the console opens up. This concludes our demonstration on installing the second management server. Our next video will look at reporting.